Have you ever seen a human like this? This isn't a man that has dyed his hair blonde to look good. This is a type of Asian monkey which is also referred to as a langur. Langur are a type of Asian monkeys that have extremely long tails and they are very loud. The type we want to talk about today is called the golden langur, which is probably one of the most interesting looking animals in the world. This extremely unique monkey can only be found in the eastern part of India, and that's around the border of Bhutan. Their population has gotten so low that they are on the endangered species list. The way this animal looks, especially its eyes that looks like a human, made people be terrified of it, and that's why a lot of rumors were built around this animal in the ancient times. And that's one of the many reasons that these golden langurs are terrified of humans as well, and as soon as they see you, they run away because they want nothing to do with you. Another interesting fact about them is that only the males have gold fur, while only the females have a cream type looking fur. Golden langurs aren't very tall. The males could be as tall as 1 meter and the females are a little bit smaller and they could be as tall as 90 centimeters. Another way you can identify if the monkey is a male or a female is that both genders have extremely tall tails, but a male has even a longer tail, which is even taller than its own body. The female has a long tail, but not as much. So this is another way to identify the males and the females. Even though the ancient people of Himalayas have known this animal for thousands of years, but they never actually wrote about it and how they thought about it back in the day. Nothing gets written until the British show up in the Himalayas and start identifying different types of animals. The first time in the year 1838, a British politician by the name of Robert Pemberton was the first person to actually write about these golden langurs. He didn't write anything special either. He said, "I saw a bunch of weird looking monkeys," and he was too scared to go forward to check him out up close. Since Pemberton wasn't really a zoologist, he never named these types of monkeys, so they still remained nameless. Fast forward 7 years and finally we get somewhere with this animal in the year 1907. A British mountaineer by the name of Edward Sheber was hanging around the Himalayas and all of a sudden he sees an extremely unique animal. This is how he writes about these golden langurs. He says, "I saw an extremely weird looking golden monkey, but just like the other guy, he is not a zoologist, so he doesn't give a name to this brand new animal he just discovered." Just like we said in the beginning, these monkeys are terrified of humans. If you get too close to them, they will run away. Because just like the ancient times, the people didn't trust it, so these guys don't trust humans either. So they are always trying to stay as far away as possible. So that's another reason that it was so hard to study this. More than 40 years pass and we finally get to 1947. At this time, different British zoologists go around the world to name different animals all around the globe. When they were going around Asia, they noticed the trend. There are a lot of different types of monkeys that have an extremely long tail and they are loud, which is why they came up with the term langur, which basically means an Asian monkey with a long tail. This is the time when one of the scientists sees one of these in the Himalayas, and when he notices it that it's gold, he names it the golden langur. He had seen a male golden langur, hence why it's named golden, even though all of them are not. You have to know, until this time no scientist has seen this monkey from up close because the animal doesn't allow it. Throughout its life, it has realized that the human is not his friend and to stay away as much as possible. Eventually, humans do what they do best. They caught one of these golden langurs to study it up close, and this was in the year 1954. They realize that the golden langur doesn't like staying on the ground. It always lives on top of trees and stays away from other animals, especially humans. It's also a herbivore, so it eats plants, fruits, and it even eats flowers. Golden langurs live in a group of 7 to 8, and even though they don't hang around in a pack right next to each other, but they are in a small vicinity on top of trees. Inside a group there is no more than 2 males and the rest of them are females or children. You might not believe it, but scientists haven't been able to officially come up with the population number for these animals. And that's because these things stay out of sight and they literally try to hide. So you can't properly count their population. The area they live in is 30,000 square kilometers, so it's not that easy to cover all of it. Even taking videos of the golden langur is hard because, just like we said, it doesn't allow you to get close to it and it stays in the high trees, so you have to be lucky to get a video of it up close. But if it's inside a cage, it's very easy, you just take a video. But they do look more stressed out than they are in the wild. Usually Asian monkeys with long tails, also known as langurs, are very good at climbing trees. They are master at climbing because they have very powerful hands, very powerful legs, and even their tails are powerful, which gives them balance and strength. You could count the tail as the 5th arm. They can't officially count the amount of golden langurs in the wild, but the number is around 6,500. You should all know that different types of monkeys, just like the golden langur, is known as a primate, and you also know Neanderthals or ancient humans as primates as well. But the golden langur is the most endangered primate in the world right now, so the chance of extinction is at its highest. Even though it's extremely hard to find these things in the wild and get close to them, but humans have done their task. Out of the 6,500 golden langurs, 93% of them are in the wild and 7% of them are in captivity. But the captivity ones aren't in the zoo just for a show like the other monkeys and langurs. These are actually to keep safe and to study them to see how their biology works. The report that the government of India recently reported says that 30% of the population of the golden langur has declined because they are counting much less than they did 30 years ago, hence why they are much more strict about this animal and how people treat it and how people get close to it. If any normal person wants to see the golden langur up close, there is basically one way you can. You got to go to the Manas National Park in India. This is no small task, it's actually a huge national park which you have to hike around and maybe, just maybe, you see a golden langur, but it's not guaranteed. So you might be there for a few days if you actually want to make sure you see one. Nobody has been able to calculate how many years the golden langur lives in the wild, but in captivity, the male lives around 18 years and the female lives much longer at 30 years. If there is around 20 extremely unique and interesting animals in the wild, the golden langur is for sure one of them, because in my opinion, this animal is probably the most interesting one. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.